Have you ever sat and thought about what life would be like without communication devices? I know. Nowadays, communication for, say, the Gen Zs and the younger millennials is so easy. We write an email and are able to send it to someone all the way in Indonesia within seconds. We have a public service announcement for national broadcasts, and one of the quickest ways to get it out is what? Right, over the radio. A radio broadcast. It's World Radio Day, and this year's theme is Radio and Peace. As you go throughout the day, give a quick thought to how the radio has been beneficial to your life. Sitting in your car driving, you're listening to the radio. At home during a power outage or a hurricane, the battery radio is to the rescue. I'm Theodore Henry. We have more coming up right after this.
Unsure of when you should apply for your NHT contributions refund? This is your reminder. The National Housing Trust, NHT, is now accepting refund applications for contributions made in 2015. Here is what you need to know. Eligible contributors must apply online. Customers may apply for their refund via NHT's website at nht.gov.jm or through its mobile app, NHT Mobile. The NHT has extended the cash refund granted to eligible public sector workers for 2023. For more information, you may visit their website, nht.gov.jm, send an email to wecare@nht.gov.jm or call 876-929-6500 or 888-225-5648. The National Housing Trust, the key to your home.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Monday, February 13, 2023. Legislation is to be brought to Parliament shortly, allowing electronic signatures for warrants issued to motorists with outstanding tickets. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the intention is to have this passed before the end of March this year. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck is charged with ensuring electronic signatures for warrants become part of the legal system.
Once that is in place, then an unpaid ticket, which has passed the time for payment at the tax office, is now a candidate for the issuing of a warrant. And once a warrant is issued, the policeman doesn't have to call into base if he gets your license to check. The police will have the capabilities to immediately check and see whether or not a warrant is out for your arrest.
The Prime Minister was addressing members of the National Road Safety Council on Thursday. He also called on the police to apply discretion while enforcing the law, insisting that they should not use it as an opportunity for exploitation.
The police do have their internal mechanisms doing their quality control check. So I do know that the leadership of the police is very concerned about complaints of corruption and citizens offering bribes or policemen asking for bribes. And this cannot be tolerated because it undermines the confidence of the citizens.
He added that the leadership of the constabulary force should step up their interdiction process for those policemen and women who give the force a bad name. Driving instructors have until January 1 next year to meet certification requirements. As provided under the Road Traffic Act and regulations, driving instructors and driving schools are required to be certified and licensed by the Island Traffic Authority, ITA. In Parliament recently, Transport Minister Audley Shaw said the date would allow a reasonable time for instructors to undergo an approved training program. Before applying to be certified as a driving instructor, the person must be at least 24 years of age and must have held and used the class of driver's license for which certification is being sought for a period of not less than 24 months. Individuals should have also successfully completed a driving instructor training program approved by the Island Traffic Authority. The application made to the authority should include a police record, 2 character references, a medical certificate from a registered medical practitioner indicating the health of the applicant, and the fees specified. Meanwhile, persons seeking a license to operate a driving school are required to, among other things, provide evidence that an owner, a director, or a partner of the driving school is a certified driving instructor. 2 character references are also required, and the applicant must prove that the building to be used for classrooms at the driving school is approved for that purpose by the local authority. Jamaica's recent trade mission to Guyana has cemented several contracts in construction and technology. These will see Jamaica supplying Guyana with building materials and providing technological support. Details of the 6-day mission in January was provided by Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill. He was speaking at a recent JIS think tank.
Right in that delegation of 70 people, a lot of business was done between Jamaican businesses and Jamaican and other businesses that are in here in Jamaica. So that was a plus.
This has potential not just for us as local contractors, but it also allows the growth. We're looking at the Jamaican economy and seeing how can we increase our exports. And this is the first and probably the easiest, what we refer to as a low-hanging fruit, that we can capitalize on in very short order to have materials exported to Guyana.
Also resulting from the trade mission, local information and communications technology ICT companies will lend support to Guyanese financial institutions to improve their customer experience. The Heart NSTA Trust, which was a part of the delegation, will be working with the Guyanese government to establish a memorandum of understanding to offer training. The Guyanese Minister of Labour is expected in Jamaica later this month to finalize the details of the MOU. Minister Hill says he will be leading 2 upcoming trade missions to Trinidad and Tobago from February 28 to March 3 and to the Dominican Republic from March 20 to 25 to open more doors for trade and investment. The Ministry of Education and Youth will be hosting a series of primary exit profile PEP training camps to assist teachers with tailored techniques that will offer targeted intervention for students. The sessions will be held on February 14 and 28, March 27 and 31, and May 1 to 5. Grades 4 to 6 teachers have until the end of today to register. The Ministry of Education says this is part of efforts to better prepare this year's batch of students who will sit the ability test on February 16. The training will guide participants through the skills required for each component of PEP, such as the performance task, ability test, and curriculum-based test. In addition, the sessions will focus on specific abilities required for key National Standards Curriculum NSC priority areas. The objective is to prepare teachers to use novel strategies and resources to engage students in preparing for their final PEP exams. And finally, the Real Estate Board and the Commission of Strata Corporations will be establishing a dispute tribunal to assist the courts in settling industry-related matters. Newly appointed Chief Executive Officer Philip Chambers says the tribunal will enable a quicker turnaround time for persons trying to resolve issues or seeking justice through the courts. Mr. Chambers says the entity's intervention will also reduce the number of cases going before the courts annually.
We'll be able to assist not only the industry but the nation as a whole to resolve our real estate disputes amicably, and it will also serve as a source of revenue for both the entity and the government of Jamaica.
According to Mr. Chambers, the establishment of a tribunal is a major component of the transformation process to transition both entities into the Real Estate Authority of Jamaica. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching. There is much that has contributed to the music that is uniquely Jamaican. Rastafarian culture is perhaps the single greatest influence. This movement began in Jamaica in the 1930s following the coronation of Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie and a prophecy made by Marcus Garvey. As we continue to celebrate Reggae Month, let's take a trip to the Rastafari indigenous village in Montego Bay.
It's referred to as Jamaica's second city, and it's one of the island's top tourism destinations. Montego Bay St. James, with its vibrant hip strip, white sandy beaches and captivating resort life, that continues to beckon to persons outside the region is a beautiful place. But even more beautiful are some of the hidden treasures in the parish. In today's Round the Bend, we experience some of the most authentic and fulfilling experiences you can imagine. Walk with me. After treading the rocky riverbed of the Montego River, following the footpath on its bank, you will be escorted to a hidden gem, the Rastafari indigenous village. This 10-year-old village, which is tucked away in Portobello, Montego Bay, was established by a group of Rastafarians who have come together to preserve their culture and introduce visitors to their way of life and teachings.
Our philosophy is one of harmony, and music shows you clearly that difference is not something that can stop you from being harmonious. Why? Because everyone plays a different beat, everyone makes a different sound, but still it comes together to make one music. And that's the message of Rastafari. That even though we're from different places, different skin tone, different eye colors, we can celebrate these differences instead of allowing them to separate us, so we can create one beautiful song for the human experience and the planet.
During this time, visitors are served fresh fruits in bamboo, and they can also get a chance to learn the art of traditional drumming. After relishing the pulsating tunes of the drums, visitors are then escorted to the various stations in the village, where they will be further immersed in the Rastafari culture.
You eat from a calabash, you feel like you're a little pepped up, you know?
We use a combination of seeds and stones, coconut shells to make all these jewelry. But this is where you get a chance to get something natural for yourself, family, and friends. If you want to make anything, like earrings, we have the sticks. You put the beads on and we put the hook on for you. If you see anything that you want to get, then it's there, no charge for touching, only if you hold it too long.
This is what I do. I may drum, but this is something, if you don't love it, you're not gonna do it. Yeah, because you see what I was just doing? Just dig it. Just dig it. But you cannot afford to make no mistake. This fell apart, but it's just on your finger. You know what it's like. Some of my fingers, they are not straight. They are broken bones, cracked bones, and I lose my nails sometimes. But because I love what I do, pain is to me like nothing.
So this is where we make natural soaps with the material around us. And coconut oil is the main oil in this process. We put the coconut oil with sodium hydroxide dissolved in water, and that's the basic soap formula. Different measurements are used. We incorporate some soaps, fragrance oils, essential oils as well. You can open and you can smell.
We do not use water in our juices. We only use sugar cane in our juices, yeah? You know what this is?
Ginger.
Ginger. So in all of our juices, we have sugar cane and ginger. If you call Rastafari a coconut movement, you'll be correct, because we use coconut to do every single thing. So, I'm going to take you to coconut heaven. On the back of your hands, I'm going to give you a drop of coconut love. Yeah, man. So this is extra virgin coconut oil. We use this on everything that we have, our salads. Yes, we use coconut.
The Rastafari village is definitely not an all-inclusive resort, but persons can visit the wellness center for a moment of relaxation, or stay overnight in one of the numerous cabins on location. There's also an organic vegetable and herb garden you can explore. But if after the tour you still crave even more one-on-one experiences of the Rastafarian way of life, then the monthly IRITS concert is all you need.
And we live for the plans to be free, and we build our own society.
We started IRITS in January 2018. And, you know, as a group of Rastafari people who are here, we had always been planning, you know, to say that we must see how culture can cure. A lot of the musicians from Montego Bay, they always have to migrate to go somewhere else. And there are just so much traditions that are dying, and along with all of these things that are dying, we think that we could facilitate them under one umbrella. So IRITS became that umbrella of wellness, it became that umbrella for food, and it became a space where music and of course everything else to do with culture.
The event, which is held on the last Sunday of each month at 1 o'clock, never fails to bring out some of the best talents you can find.
There in the cover of the darkness we watch and wait. You know exactly what to say, 'cause you've been caught before. I tell you, we just can't take no more.
If you're looking for the perfect opportunity to learn about the Rastafari community, indulge in its way of life, and become one with their culture, you know where to go.
There's a lot more to Jamaica than just what meets the eye. I had always loved art. It was my first love. It set me free. I did some artwork for the Half Moon Hotel. And shortly after, 14 guests showed up at my gate thinking I had a gallery up here. And that gave me the idea that I need to have a gallery. And so the guests would come up, they see the garden, ask if they could go for a walk, but everybody came back saying we should make something of it. It was inspiring, they described it in many ways.
When they come here, we give each guest a welcome and a little history about the place before they take the tour. There's one word that they repeat over and over again. Love. They feel love in this place.
One guest we had in the early years was from Germany. And he said, you know, I spent 5 days on the beach looking up in these hills and just wondered what was life like up there. And he found us. People who travel want to experience. And this is what we try to offer, an experience.
Every guest that leaves this place said, I came here as a guest and I felt like family.
Yeah.
Come to Jamaica and be your family.
We all have a story to tell. Mine is just one of millions that are out there. And they're all good.
Becoming a mother is a gift that many women look forward to. And despite that sense of longing, many go through challenges and sudden hiccups that make their journey a bit more difficult than desired. Such is Adele's story.
Meet Adele, just 7 weeks into her first pregnancy, 13 weeks into her third pregnancy, and 8 weeks into her fourth, she realized that she was experiencing spotting. At those points, visits to the doctor became unavoidable. It was then that she learned that as a woman, an expectant mother, she had quite an unpleasant encounter with miscarriage.
So a miscarriage refers to pregnancy loss, early pregnancy loss likely occurring prior to 20 weeks gestation. One of the common misconceptions is that an abortion is something induced versus a miscarriage is something which occurs spontaneously. The truth is both terms are often used interchangeably, However, miscarriage is more commonly used simply because of the negative connotation of the term abortion. So most of the terminologies now that you hear individuals use is in reference to what we call early pregnancy losses, right? And those usually encompass a whole range of disorders which ultimately result in what is commonly referred to as miscarriage.
So I've had 3 miscarriages. After the first, I wouldn't say that I knew back then that those were really signs of miscarriage. I actually, in ignorance, thought that these were just coincidental things happening to my body. It wasn't until the second miscarriage where I experienced the exact symptoms that I realized that my body had given me a warning sign from about a week or 2 before, and that was spotting. That was the first thing that would have happened to me, where throughout my pregnancy, very early on, I noticed that I was spotting, and it wasn't just a regular color period looking like red. It was bright, and then it got to the point where if it wasn't bright, it was almost kind of brown or burgundy. Fast forward to about a week or 2 after the spotting would have started, I remember I was getting ready to go to church. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then out of nowhere, I felt as if someone took a baseball bat, or in Jamaican country, we maybe know more of a cricket bat, and hit me in my lower back with it. And I remember I was bent over in pain for, it felt like maybe 20 minutes, but I really don't think it passed 2 minutes or thereabout. But that's just how immense the pain felt. And I remember I bent over, doubled over in pain. I may be pushing, actual birth was the only thing worse than that for me, without pain meds. And then a few minutes later, I got the urge to rush to the bathroom, much like what had happened 6 years prior with the first miscarriage. And I went to the bathroom, and before I could even prepare myself to sit, there came the flow.
The most consistent signs and symptoms of miscarriages are initially PV bleeding or spotting, meaning spotting from the vagina, or either heavy bleeding passing out clots, fleshy materials. Up to 80% of women who are going to experience a miscarriage is going to have some form of bleeding per vagina. Second is abdominal pain. This pain is usually often cramping, varying in intensity and localized to the lower abdomen. And those 2 are usually the most consistent signs and symptoms of a miscarriage.
You could see aspects of the sac and everything that was there, because it just all came out, like tissue, things that looked like tissue or whatever. And I showed it to him before we flushed. My initial reaction when I found out what was happening was to hide in embarrassment, in shame in my bathroom from the one person who would want to share in this moment with me, which to me was an indication that I thought that I somehow disappointed my husband. There is a small part of your mind that says, could I have done anything differently? Did I do anything to cause this? Did I do too much walking? Did I work too hard at work? Was I too stressed? You ask yourself those questions.
There are a variety of causes. What I would say is that most first trimester miscarriages, when they do occur, they often occur without any obvious risk factors. And around 80 to 90% of the times they occur because there was some abnormality during the formation or the early processes which are involved in the formation of the fetus. There are known notable risk factors for miscarriages. Age greater than 35 being one, patients who have chronic disorders or chronic medical illnesses such as diabetes, which is uncontrolled, thyroid disease, which is uncontrolled, certain autoimmune disorder, which often causes some damage to the vessels in the body and therefore causes clots to be formed. Those clots primarily affect the vessels which form or contribute to the formation of the placenta and therefore contribute to early pregnancy losses. Very rarely, miscarriages can also be caused by abnormalities in the structure or the shape of the uterus. This abnormality in the structure of the uterus can make implantation of a fertilized egg very difficult and then contribute to miscarriages.
Of course, there is no going back, but what is done next can be significantly helpful for women who are eager to have an encounter with their childbearing wishes.
Then I would have spoken to my doctor, and then she would have advised what to do next. And by the third, I was an expert from I started spotting in that pregnancy, I knew what was possibly going to happen.
The key at that point is either reassurance or prevention of subsequent miscarriages. Now the truth is, around 20 to 30% of first trimester pregnancies will end in a miscarriage. But 90% of those women who experience these first trimester losses go on to have subsequently normal pregnancies without any problems. The issues arise in those patients who have recurrent miscarriages. So the risk tends to increase as the number of miscarriages that you have increases. So for those women, it's a matter of one, confirming the diagnosis, which is usually done through blood investigations, but also instituting some management, and that is usually in the form of either aspirin or certain blood thinners like heparin.
So the truth is, a miscarriage can happen to just about any woman, but there are some preventative steps that you can take to reduce the likelihood.
One of the things which we advise, particularly in the first trimester, is treatment of any febrile illnesses. So these could include anything like viral illnesses, bacterial illnesses, and of course it may sound very basic and simple, but avoidance of things like hot tubs or saunas or jacuzzis. Now what we've seen is that these febrile illnesses, which of course are associated with elevation in the body temperature, just as going in a sauna or a jacuzzi, can potentially trigger a miscarriage. However, for those individuals who have these underlying medical illnesses, for example diabetes, the key is control of the blood sugars, ideally preconceptionally, so even prior to pregnancy. One, to reduce the risk of miscarriages, but also what we know is that uncontrolled diabetes in the early parts of the pregnancy can also contribute to chromosomal abnormalities or congenital structural abnormalities in the fetus, which can then precipitate a miscarriage. For those individuals with thyroid disease, we encourage that they see the endocrinologist and control their thyroid function prior to pregnancy.
If this is your story, my advice to you would be, 1, learn your body. If this isn't your first pregnancy, make sure you know how your body functions when you get pregnant. Then I'd also say that be true to your emotions. Don't let anybody dictate to you how it is that you need to mourn. If you want to mourn, mourn. And if you're one that you miscarry and tomorrow you can get up and go. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to sit and cry for 2 years or whatever it is. But be true to your emotions. Do what I didn't do. Get help. I thought that I was fully okay, and it wasn't until a few months ago actually, which is almost 2 years after the second miscarriage, that I actually had an emotional break. Like I broke down and I just wasn't managing well. I felt like a failure as a person, as a wife, a mother, an employee. I just felt like I was a total mess, and I could not understand what the root of it, because I'm normally very well put together and in tune with my emotions, and I can fix myself. And I realized, no, I need to get help, and I went and got counseling, and it is in that session we found out that the root of it was just undealt with trauma from the loss. So as women, we face a myriad of challenges, health challenges. We face menopause, miscarriage, PCOS, endometriosis, infant loss, you name it. And sometimes it can feel so overwhelming, as if we can't win at this thing called life when we have to deal with this and do regular life. But I'm here to just challenge you and to encourage you to know that together we can win.
Unfortunately, we end here for today, but there's more in store for tomorrow. Be sure to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, to see what else we have to share. I'm Theodore Henry, and from the production team here at the JIS, thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.